friends! Welcome to a new game. Welcome to the start of Trans Week. I appreciate all of you. It's Trans Awareness Week. It's a big week. It's awesome. And we're about to do something really cool. I will start off by saying there's an epilepsy warning and a photo sensitivity warning. Up front, be careful. Interactive portraits of real life. Trans people. Trans activists. Trans artists. Trans thinkers. Based on interviews carried out in Japan in spring of 2018 by Zoyander Street. Proceed to continue. So this is a pixel-based game. It's really supposed to be cool and intuitive because it's basically an interactive kind of pixel art from interviews that were conducted in Japan. And Japan, of course, has a different way of doing things. If you've seen One Night Hot Springs, you can definitely see a lot of the cultural difference there, especially around trans people. And I will say, going into this, I think I will at this point have told people, if not making sure it's clear, I am genderqueer. I am trans asterisk, if you think about that. I won't talk about too much about that, but wanted to just make sure it was clear. A lot of people have asked in the comments if I was trans. I am not the straightforward trans. I am the trans asterisk extended universe, if you want to think about that. But, yes, you picked up on genderqueerness. You're right. But this is going to be fairly emotional, getting some really interesting details. We're going to read through it as much as we can. But please, disclaimer out front, okay? Alright, let's get into this. Alright, press Z. Let's do Casio. Ooh. I grew up in the countryside and came to Tokyo to do film work, but I really wanted to go into something. Is sleeping. Okay, I need to read faster. Why do you want to go back? Why didn't you move to Tokyo? Oh, I can pick. Why do you want to go back? Why did you move to Tokyo? It's a bad thing to say, but I'm gonna prefecture. The cultural level is very low. Isn't a place where I can freely create the kind of things I want to. Oh, why did you want to go back? I still like places with a nice natural environment, so being in Tokyo doesn't really feel right to me. That's fair. You know, honestly, going from a smaller town in the natural countryside to a bigger city can be very jarring, especially if you're an artist. What's wrong with Ghana? Do you make films? At first, it was just for fun. I've been making films since I was a high school student, so that'd be about 10 years ago. Oh, that's awesome. What are your goals? So you started young. Oh, cool. What are your goals? Tell me about your goals. I try not to exclude people who don't understand. I use storytelling to tell them something, to make content that everyone can agree on. No, that's awesome. Do people change their minds? Yeah, I wanna know. People who did not have any knowledge about sexuality and those who did can both respond to the protagonist in the same way. So maybe they can understand not by thinking about it, but by feeling it. Things that we feel can be transmitted to others through film. Oh, awesome. What was coming out like? Some people didn't understand. I got a bad reputation for having come out by making a film. Oh, but that's so creative and amazing. Are things changing? My experience of things changing is very subjective. I mean, that's fair, but everybody's feeling is subjective. But in what way? I started hormone injections when I was in my early 20s, and then I had chest surgery too. Oh, awesome! Congratulations! That's great! What's it like for you now? Now, I almost never feel major stress on society because of my body or its sexuality. Yay! Yay! Is your filmmaking changing? I'm sure that now I can get away from the more personal aspects and separate more of the things happening now in Japan or in the world from my own personal issues. Did it affect your films? The stress I used to feel came out in my work a lot. And when I watch my films now, I realize that my personal problems were portrayed in them to a huge extent. What's LGBT Japan like? A lot of FTMs are very macho, for sure. I intend to be that way at one point as well. I intended to be that way at one point as well. Okay, so a lot of FTMs are very much that macho kind of thing. So, you're not like that now? I can absolutely say within myself that I am a man, but there is more to me, and it would be nice if I could express myself in more ways. Oh, that's great! What's it like for trans men? It is very common among FTMs to assume that having treatment equals happiness. Having treatment makes you more of a man among other trans people. Is there bullying? There's this tendency that I just don't understand of trashing trans people who aren't having treatment. It's a major current at the moment among transgender people, and I really hate that kind of thing. Oh, yeah. No. It's not like in Ghana. Even in Ghana now, they have places where young LGBT people can gather, but last week I was interviewed by a kid who could basically only meet gay people using a hookup app. Older men try to take him to hotels and stuff. He's forced to just run away. Oh, that's very unfortunate. Oh, man. Again, if this is too much, please feel free to step away from this, but I figured this was good for us to just learn. It's very educational. Okay? Kaede. Yes. Z. I'm transgender and MTF. I studied architecture and branding strategy of space. Oh, that's really cool. Is relaxing. Oh, it's your little character is relaxing. Oh. Whoa. Nope. Z. Am I talking gender? Oh my god. Some conversations don't feel good. Some people are too bold asking if I'm she-male, but if they don't mention my gender, they might not understand me. Those two responses are very different. I think I need some middle reaction. They really call you she-male? I think they feel I come from comedy. They want to see some vivid reaction from me. She-male is a comedy? Maybe television says she-males spend money on their faces. But this is just the influence of comedy. Some people ask me, how much did you pay for your face? But actually, I did not pay for my face. It's my natural face. You're not made of money. People think you're a transgender, you are she-male. So you spend a lot of money on your beauty, but actually I'm a student, I'm poor. Just a normal person. I want to enjoy my life and be a normal she-male. Be a normal female. But on the other hand, I want to propagandize myself. What do you mean? It's a very big word, but if people knew about my life, they would know that transgender is not a special identity. How do you propagandize? If you want to create a good world, then I need to show some version to other people. What? My vision to other people. What's your vision? Wow, I want to make a smooth world. We tend to make walls between people. And if I said this is an office, it means it has an office. It means I've made a boundary between office and other. And if I say it is different to name a space when the idea is to design something responsive. This is society. This is my society. This is not my society. This is not my art. We can design what people want. Some things cannot be divided between A or B. Interesting. So the designer is not me. The designer is the citizen. We don't design. We organize workshops to let citizens design for themselves. Okay. What makes work fun? Normal architecture projects start from the program. So the client comes to the office and says, I want you to design a cafe, and I want you to design an office. But we don't receive that kind of project. We discuss with the client, and we understand the client's situation. Then we show the ideal building for them. Okay, so you basically take a step back and say, well, do you actually need a cafe? Do you actually need an office? Or what's your actual business need? What is the need of what you want to do? No program. If you say this is an office, people think, oh, I need to be quiet. I need to concentrate in here. If I say this is the library, people start to think, oh, I need to read in here. So I don't want to mention the program. I want to focus on activity. Here we can... Something here you can enjoy art. Okay. This is anarchism? But sometimes we need to control people, because if I say you can do anything in the architecture, people may misunderstand the space. The difficulty is how to use design as a good medium. If I am to create a smooth world, I have to care about misunderstandings. Why are boundaries bad? Trump is trying to construct a wall, and your country, with Brexit, is trying to make boundaries, but there are no boundaries. I think there are graduations. Oh, when did you come up with this? So I had to think about breaking boundaries in 2016. That was when I changed my own gender. When I was male, I believed I was male, but now I can't believe the categories of gender. Through that experience, I knew that categorization makes the world worse. Thanks for talking to me about that. Yeah. Interesting, Kaede. Alicia. Tell me, Alicia. I'm Alicia, but my name is actually Arata Kitamura. I'm a theater director. Oh. Sleeping. Oh. Cool name. Arata is a super strong man's name, but the image of a hero with some small percentage, it's a female. But for some small percentage, it's a female. What does it mean? When my parents were young, they were the generation that was fighting police against society, all that. And the Chinese character my parents gave me means revolution. That's an intense name. Before elementary school, when I was 5 or something, I asked them, what does it mean, revolution? What's the difference between change, renewal, innovation, and revolution? It's quite the burden. It was a curse, you know, all the time having to think, what is a revolution? That was my childhood. Crazy. What does it mean for you? I didn't do anything with revolution in society, so I made revolution for my gender. As new half in Tokyo, trans female in New York, and living a surreal life as an artist. New half is like a transgender woman who has had hormones and operations. Totally beautiful woman, but the voice is a bit lower. Oh, cool. When did you start New Half? When did you start it? Started working in the New Half business. There was a kind of boom. There were so many TV shows, and I admired them so much. Like, oh my god, that's the greatest. I should be there. Oh, that's cool. Sounds exciting. But at the same time, I was scared to be admiring and longing for it so much. When I started university, I quit it. I wasn't brave enough when I started again later. I knew I couldn't go back to being a guy. What are New Half like? Why did you stop university? Yeah. Wanted to keep on with my theater activities and felt I shouldn't be like a super strange person. The image of a transgender was like a super strange person. Like a courtesan or prostitute or nasty person. Oh. That's sad that those are there. So what work you did theater activities. So, yeah. Right? At the time I worked in the show pub. Show pub is like a cabaret. So we did dancing, drama, comedy, doing very beautiful things with hospitality and some kind of romantic services. Oh, winky face. I saw that. A short and beautiful life. That was my dream. I didn't expect that I can be smart and intelligent and speak English. Just wanted to be super popular and earn money. Awesome. It's about New York, yeah. When I was 27 years old, in 1997, I made up my mind that I had to go to the US. Okay? How did the US change you? It's not when, it's how. In 1997, I moved to the US, and in English, you say he or she all the time. In Japanese, normally, we just say the person's name, but in Japanese-speaking culture, everyone all the time had to know how to call me. Yeah, that's a problem. I do like the ability to have a little bit more flexibility with your like last name and everything. So how did you handle pronouns? Sorry, taking half a second. Why are you messaging me? Not now. Be safe check-in. I totally looked like a woman, but at first I was like, no, I'm a guy. But people started asking, which is comfortable for you to be a him or a her? Now was your choice. For the first time I started to think, what should I be called? So I'm not him, I'm totally not a guy. I needed time, a couple months, to read books and be like, okay, I'm a woman. So why did you go to the US? 1995 was a turning point for me because of the Windows 95. Gradually people started to use computers, and that meant internet and email. Email was very big for contacting Reroad? Naturally, my English improved because every night I was writing to British and American scholars and writers. In 1996, I made up my mind that I had to go. What were the 90s like? Ooh, I remember. I am old. I felt like the very first normal trans woman, but I was not the first. It was such a miracle. Everywhere people thought the same way before the gender identity law passed in 2001 in Japan. There was so much activity from people like Akiya Namiya. I'm going to butcher these names, so I'm going to skip them. They're my generation, but as a new half, I was far from such a societal moment. Okay, what was New York like? It's an important time to switch from Japanese new half to American female. Transgender issues at that time in New York were about protecting like Spanish-speaking girls engaged in prostitution who were being killed. Yes, that's a good point. There was very much that problem. What's your life like now? Just a normal woman. Great. How was Japan today? I really hate when someone wants to judge what kind of person you are. I'm very comfortable traveling in the countryside because nobody knows about gender identity issues. The younger generation of trans people are just beginning, so they want to present something, but for me, if nobody asks me, that's a dreamy situation. Better than Shinjuku? Shinjuku is very comfortable for me, but sometimes drunk guys are like, oh, I've been drinking around, so I know so many new half. And I don't like that kind of attention. Just a normal woman. Of course, I have some background, but that's not your business. Okay. No short, beautiful life. Oh, I'm too lazy for that. I'm too lazy now to keep maintained in any way, shape, or form. I love to eat, and I love to sleep. Good for you! Thanks for talking to me, Alicia. So, these are definitely very interesting. And very artistic. And I think that the background here is that the person who's interviewing in, like, 2018, 2019 was a British journalist. So, sheesh. I'm X-gender. In English, people might say non-binary or gender fluid. Hey! Nice. It's feeling comfortable. Okay. I don't feel like a woman or a man, but like myself. Cool. What are your pronouns? In Japanese, we don't have he or she, but we have different words for I, like boku for man and watashi for women. Interesting. Are there no other pronouns? In kindergarten, I called myself Iruban or self. My teacher corrected me, call yourself watashi. Is it different for kids now? I'm trying to change it by talking to parents about gender and sexuality diversity and running a support group. Oh, that's great! Tell me about the support group. Started a self-help support group for ex-gender people to meet once a month. Oh. Cool. Gender roles. For me, gender roles and gender identity are very different things. Very good point. Does this stress you out? Cooking and sewing are seen as women's roles, and this is a big stress. It's easier since coming out. Now I can tell everyone that I like cooking. Haha! I feel comfortable. Was it worse before? When I lived as a woman, I couldn't tell people I love cooking because they might say, you have feminine skills. Oh, what are your hopes? My hope is that, little by little, if I talk to people face to face, society will change. I'm not special. We are ordinary people, just ourselves. This is not a big thing. Oh. How should society change? People will recognize that transgender people are not special. Oh. I mean, honestly, that was great. That was great. Good for you for making a support group. Oh my god. Nanita? I'm a trans activist in Japan. Mostly my activism is about LGBT youth voting. Oh, that's awesome. He's sleeping. Cool. Why LGBT youth? When I found out I was transgender, I had no role models and very little information about trans. That is very poignant and very well spoken. It's not just like specific to LGBT individuals in Japan. For America specifically, there is an entire generation basically wiped for us. It's very rare to have elder gays available to you. In fact, millennials are generally considered the elder gays in the community because at this point, there's not as much people left in Gen X and then the boomers, of course, where they either were killed very young from their activism and their efforts, which have paved the way for a lot of us, but they've also just systematically been taken out because of the inequities of society. So not having that role models is a big problem in the LGBT community. So, I mean, honestly, it's a big reason why I started Dainty Tank channel. Because I wanted to have a community. I wanted to have and establish this community for all of us. Beyond that, let's keep going in with Nanita's here. What do you talk about? I want to know the stories and the histories of people struggling with gender. Why is history important? History is very important. If I were born 100 or 200 years ago, I don't know how I would be able to live. Oh, what stories inspire you? I like to talk with people who are older than me and hear their stories. Tell me a good story. My friend Sawi wrote a book that became a movie called Yuriko Dasidanya about a woman called Yashiko. Yashiko was born about 100 years ago and she was dating a famous writer. Yuriko, she was always wearing boys' kimono. She walked like a man and she was always behaved like a man. If she lived today, she might be trans. Good point. There's a lot of people in history where, like, it wasn't found out until their deathbed that they weren't their gender that they had told everybody they were for years. They just kind of up and left the farm and then completely redid their gender. And no one was able to electronically track it back then. Tell me more about Yoshiko. When Yoshiko was 80 years old, treated to ask her about their relationship at first, Yoshiko didn't want to talk about it because it was easy to misunderstand. So what did they do? When she found out that Savage is a lesbian, Yoshiko became very happy. She openly talked about their relationship and shared the letters they wrote to each other. Both were writers, and those letters were like poems. Oh, that's so sweet! Yoshiko was a researcher of Russian literature. She eventually broke up with Yuriko, but they couldn't say goodbye officially, so Savage wrote Yuriko, "Das Vinyana." It was very touching. Why did she inspire you? She's very inspiring. When she was young, there was very little information about lesbians and trans. Facts. How did it impact you? She's very butch. And she says if she was born later, she might have identified in a different way. How is it for you now? The younger generation is realizing earlier than they are that they are trans and starting transition earlier. Their experience is different. In what way? I met a trans girl who goes to school as a girl every day. She has allies, her family has allies, and they have role models. That's awesome. So are children transitioning? They start medical transition earlier now. Yeah! Stopping puberty, using hormones. That's great for them. Oh, it makes you love life. I have so many friends. Oh. If I were not trans, I might not have so many friends. How do you cope with trouble? When I have problems, I can call on my friends. Oh. Activism stressful? It's not always political stuff. It couldn't be because I broke up with my girlfriend, but I think, how do I put this? I talk deeper with my friends. That's a fact. That's a big fact. When you're sitting there talking with your LGBT QIA plus group, and it's just like you're talking on a whole different level about like systemic issues, and then in comes straight person who's like, tell me what we're talking about. I'm like, we're on like level 3 of gender theory, we're not gonna go there. If I were not trans, I would not be so political, and I wouldn't be talking with so many people, because I need to talk about many things. I need to open to my friends, and my friends are open to me. That's great. Thanks for talking to me. Oh, these are so good and so wholesome. Oh my god. Alright. Iria. I don't think we'll be getting through all of these. I'm going to try to get through a couple more, and then I think I'm going to pause it. My identity is genderqueer. Ah! Yes! Alright, sorry. Transcending the binary. Not transgender? I used to identify as transgender, but in Japan, trans means transitioning, not transcending. Say more about drag. How else have you identified? The first term I used to describe my gender was X-gender. I have my friend who is X-gender and pansexual. Okay. What is masculine feminine? It's difficult to say because I don't want to stereotype. It's hard not to stereotype. I was always wondering whether what I'm doing is right. For example, should I remove my beard and mustache? You want to remove it? You want to keep it? You're allowed to move it. I want to leave my beard, but this notion itself belongs to the gender binary. No beard equals female. I'm not saying you might be wrong. Oh my god. I'm still thinking about keeping my beard. A girl with a beard is also maybe quite cool? Yeah. Sounds very political. Gender is a political thing. It's political and sociological. People don't understand that. Is Japan accepting LGBT? If I went to America, I would be killed. Yeah, that's very unfortunate, very direct and correct statement. In Japan, that wouldn't happen. Instead, people simply don't care. What makes you think that? For example, the law about trans people is absurd, but people don't even know it exists. Do you protest the law? Although I am genderqueer, I often write about this law because we must all live and act together. Facts. Do you have the legal rights? In Japan, if you want to change sex on your family registry, you must not be able to have children. Yeah, we learned that there's like forced sterilization, which is horrible. People not caring sounds. Aw. Not caring about us is different for accepting us. Thanks for talking. Oh. That was rough. That was rough. Oh. Let's do Jesper. I'm a YouTuber and a blogger, also known as Queer as Cat. Whoa, Queer as Cat. Boop, 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 boop. But, okay. Exhausted by drama. YouTube! Tell me about YouTube. It started as like a video documentary of my life because I have a shitty memory. Okay, relatable. It's good to know I'm not the only one who thinks or feels this way. So, how is YouTube now? Now I have an audience, there's pressure, like my opinions matter suddenly. Try to avoid explaining. People don't always listen. Yeah, but I usually just say there are a lot of definitions for me. I mean, I've never been sexually attracted to anyone. That's fine. Have you been in love? Yes, I've been in love. I just didn't want to do the sex thing, even then. But if you love someone, sex and love are different. Facts. They are. There's asexuality, aromanticism, there's even demi, there's a whole gray spectrum. So there's a lot there. You can be ace and still really romantically connected to people. Or you could be aro and really like the deed. Sex and love are different. Yes, they are two different things. That seems to be the most difficult thing for people to grasp. Yeah, clarity of language matters. 9 or 10 years ago, the word asexual wasn't as developed. There wasn't a distinction of asexual from aromantic. Facts. Society sure is changing. Yay for the development of terminology and identities. Are things improving? Ooh, I'd like things to improve. I wish humans didn't have such a need to draw some clear lines and boxes. There's a different kind of societal pressure for me in Japan versus what I'd face back in America. I wish Americans often place all Asian people on the more feminine end of things, which is so fucked up. I mean, yeah, that's right. I wish diversity was like actually celebrated as it's claimed to be in America. Oh. In America, I have to be like I have to overcompensate to not be seen as a feminine person. I recently started HRT. Finally. It feels like I'm headed in the right direction that I want to go in. Oh, that's good. In Japan, I feel like as someone perceived as female, pressure to be more feminine in a way that doesn't exist in America. I recently yeah. Whew. In Japan, when I had shorter hair, I was automatically seen as super masculine. Like, are you even a girl? Masculinity and macho culture in America is an extreme that doesn't exist in Japan. There is a big macho culture. Even in LGBT spaces, I'm seen as butch, trying to relate back to something that isn't there. That's fair. I am quite often given butch status immediately upon being perceived. Americans have more solidified assumptions about what it means to be black and a black woman, which is what I'm perceived as. Things are getting better, but not the level of better that I would hope. Same. Will America get better? Before Trump was elected, I would have said maybe, but now I'm generally more pessimistic. Or realistic. Ooh, is life in Japan changing? In Japan, it's really easy, especially as an English teacher, to feel like your life is stagnant. What's going well for you? 2018 has had a great start for me. Recently started HRT, finally, maybe I'm headed in the direction I want to go. Ooh, is this harder in Japan? Japan is a country of VA, HA, harmony. No conflict. So I can't voice myself in the same way as in America. Huh. I usually went online into the abyss of the internet. Not going to say that I don't agree on that one, because I totally did, and I totally do. So, I think this has been very fun. This is very interesting. Let me know if you want to see more of these. I think we've got another 5. But I am running out of my energy to be able to handle this. This is a lot of emotions. If you ever need help, there's a link to the Trevor Project down below. Definitely appreciate your time, your care. Please have a moment and take time to learn more about trans identities, trans awareness, trans activism, especially as we're coming up on November 20th, which is Trans Remembrance Day, which is very important and solemn, as we've unfortunately lost so many people, and we want to change that tide. With that, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye!